Reacting to the visit, the ruling All Progressives Congress says an alignment of the former President Obasanjo and former Vice President Atiku would amount to no threat to President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. Speaking in an interview, APC National Secretary Senator Ajibola Basiru downplayed the significance of the meeting between Obasanjo and Atiku in Abeokuta, Ogun State, on Monday. Basiru emphasized that the APC remains focused on governance and is currently strategizing for the November 8 Anambra governorship elections rather than being concerned with political alignments. Atiku, who led a high-powered delegation, was accompanied by former governors Aminu, Tambuwal, Liyel, Imoke, and other political figures to the meeting. Now live to discuss this with us, we're joined by political analyst Jide Ojo. Mr. Jide Ojo, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Let me go straight by asking. Let me go straight to asking, can the APC's position on the Obasanjo-Atiku alliance be considered a strategic maneuver to minimize the, let's call it, perceived threat or to discredit the opposition?
Well, I just guess that this is not strange. It's something you see ahead of every major elections, realignment of forces. You see people engaging in horse trading, people engaging in political alignment and realignment. And 2027 is not an exception, but Atiku said he was there on a courtesy visit, but definitely when politicians meet, the only notable agenda will be politics. And I think Atiku and his supporters need to just first try to find a stable home in their respective political parties before getting Obasanjo's political influence in Nigerian politics has really diminished. It's not the first time that Obasanjo will even endorse Atiku. He did endorse Atiku in 2019 and endorsed Peter Obi in 2023. None of the two ever made it to the presidency of Nigeria. So whatever they are doing, just like Senator Ajibola Basiru said, is of no moment because, as you know, it's very difficult to dislodge an incumbent government, and more so in an election of such as we have coming up on 2027, which will be a re-election bid for the president. Unless the opposition really present a formidable force and they are able to share their ego, which has been the albatross that has not allowed them to make significant impact since 2015, it will be of no moment again in 2027. So what they just need first to do is to put their own houses in order. And if they want to march, let them march early enough, because by this time next year, INEC will have given the mandatory 1 year notice to 2027. And it will be too late to form any coalition at that time. So whatever they want to do, it's within their political and constitutional rights to meet. A movement, there is a freedom of association. Section 40 of the Constitution guarantees that, as well as several other rights. So it's within the rights of Atiku Obasanjo to meet. But if they really want to form a formidable coalition, the first needs to do a lot of house cleaning for that to be very significant ahead of 2027.
Something that you just mentioned, and that's the historic political alliance here. What role does that play? I know you just mentioned that if you look back in time that they have always been these alliances. In fact, he endorsed 2 of these presidents, or rather candidates, that didn't make it. So what role does this data play in the APC's evaluation of the Obasanjo-Atiku alliance?
For APC, I think they must really not take the opposition for granted, because that could be very costly. I read earlier today that President Tinubu is really asking his cabinet members to speak out and tell Nigerians what they are doing so that the negative perception of the current administration will be mitigated. Because right now, Nigerians are just in a cul-de-sac. It's not as if they want APC to continue, but the opposition are not presenting any formidable and any record-breaking credentials for Nigerians to choose as an alternative. So it's like Nigerians are between the devil and the deep blue sea, or what the other philosophers would say, between a rock and a hard place. So historically, the only successful coalition that I've ever worked was in 2013, when the CPC and ANPP and part of ABGA formed the coalition, which was later, which also later absorbed the new PDP into their fold ahead of 2015. So what I'm saying invariably is that APC need to be worried because of its own credibility rating. Nigerians are not finding it easy under the APC administration. The rising cost of living is not making many people to be comfortable. And as we say in local parlance, there will always be a price to pay for this kind of cost of living crisis. You saw what happened in UK in July 2024, what happened in US in November 2024, what happened in Ghana in December 2024. And all of these political upsets happened because of the rising cost of living in those respective countries, which enabled the opposition to sweep the polls in their favor. And that is why the APC must not really be very complacent that Nigerians have no choice. We do have choice, but it's just for the opposition to get their acts together and present a very formidable coalition and platform. But for APC, if it intends to retain the presidential seat, it has to do a lot better in terms of good governance than what we currently see manifesting across the nation.
Mr. Jide Ojo, one more question, and if you would help us summarize on this one. So what are the implications of Atiku's engagement with Obasanjo currently, and what have they been from before, since he has always been in alliance with him?
Well, the implication is just... I mean, Atiku has shown resilience as a dogged political fighter, and that is even the more worrisome thing, that he never gives up. By 2027, he's going to be 80 years of age, and I'm not too sure whether if he presents himself as a presidential candidate in 2027, whether that will appeal to Nigerian citizens. But it's within his political rights to make a bid. But I think if the opposition really want to cause an upset, they have to look for a younger candidate to present. And they must rally behind that candidate in such a way that they will give APC the run for the money. But, I mean, Atiku is in opposition. He's a successful businessman. He has a lot of time on his hands, so he could make a tour of a tour of the owners and movers and shakers of political institutions in Nigeria to get their blessings and endorsement. And that's exactly what he's doing. I am sure that after visiting Obasanjo, is going to go to Daura, is going to also go to Mina to see General Abdulsalami and General Babangida, which are the usual suspects that are always met ahead of every major elections. But these elder statesmen do not have as much political value as they used to have in their younger days. And Nigerians in contemporary times have shined their eyes, and they are not going to do a follow kind of elections. But It is for the better good of Nigerians that the opposition is waking up, because without a very credible opposition platform, the APC will continue to have their way, and that means bad governance and suboptimal performances will continue to be recorded both at the national and subnational level. So the more vibrant opposition we have, the better for the ordinary citizens of Nigeria, because they know that this opposition element will be able to cause an upset in any future election. So Atiku has made himself to be the rallying point for opposition element, and he has to wake up, because Peter Obi at some point in time was almost becoming the face of opposition. So Atiku is also adding some vibes to his own opposition clout by making sure that he sustains his moment in the news and in the media space for relevance. But how the 2027 elections will pan out is still a long way to predict. We cannot conveniently at this point predict an election that will be coming in 2 years' time.
All right,
but suffice to say that it's better for the good of Nigeria if the opposition wakes up and plays its constitutional role to hold government to account.
Well, Mr. Jide Ojo, I want to say first off that it's very interesting that you know Atiku's itinerary, especially at times like this. You know where next he's going to go. I find that very interesting. But thank you very much, sir, for giving us your expert view on the matters. Thank you.